Today we're talking about the all-new Nikon 28 to 75 f2.8 for the Nikon mirrorless system, and you also have access to raw files. There's a link, you can go get those raw files and you can play around with them. Please don't put them on the internet as your own, but you can play with them. That's the deal. I hope that's a good deal for you. Remarkable test footage. Welcome to Hawaii. If you've been following on Instagram, you know that I'm not at home. I'm in a much warmer place. I live about an hour outside of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and it's quite cold, or very cold, I guess, up there right now. Different situation down here. Also, February 16th, if you are a wedding photographer, maybe listen up. Bookmore Weddings 2022 is coming out on February 16th. You can pre-order it now, and if you pre-order it, you're getting a ton of bonus content. And then the Bookmore Weddings 2022 videos will be released on February 16th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And what Bookmore Weddings 2022 is, it's 10 different videos, so 10 things that you should be doing for your wedding photography business right now if you want to be booking a lot of weddings in 2022. The main goal is to bring you to a full-time level so you're able to focus all of your time and energy actually on your wedding photography business. The biggest struggle for me getting started was that I was working a 9-to-5 job, and while that was great, it paid me money, it unfortunately took so much time and energy away from what I should have been doing, which is putting time and energy into my business, and I was putting that into someone else's business, making them lots of money, which is probably great for the economy, but at the end of the day, I would rather be working on my own business. So that is what Bookmore Weddings 2022 is all about. Pre-order it now, and you get access to all of that bonus content, and also members, if you're on the members website, you get access to Bookmore Weddings 2022 as well. Now let's talk about this lens. As you can see, quite stickered up. Lots of stickers. That means that I have borrowed this lens from Nikon. We've not exchanged money. They haven't paid me. They haven't told me what to talk about. They simply gave me this lens for a week to bring out here to Hawaii. I also, as you can see, stickered up. This is a Nikon Z7 II. I haven't used the Z7 II a whole lot, Z6 II a lot. Z7 II is not new to me completely, but definitely I didn't use it as heavily as the Z6 II, so I'm going to be doing an updated review coming soon, so don't forget to subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. So these are my honest thoughts on this lens, and my favorite lens, as a lot of you probably know, for the Nikon, not even the Nikon Z series, for pretty much any camera system ever, is a Nikon Z24 to 70 f2.8s. It is an amazing lens. There's something special going on in it. The photos that I take with it, I just absolutely love every single one of them. This kind of competes with that. So this is a 28 to 75. So it's, rather than the 24, you get the 28 starting point, which makes it a little less expensive and a little bit lighter. And you get the additional 5mm on the long end, I guess. I find that I don't really use that. Like 70 is just as good as 75 to me, but 28 is not quite as good as 24 to me. Although if you are a street photographer, basically the benefit of 28 is that you don't get any kind of that wide angle feeling. It begins where everything kind of feels more true to life and there's no distortion. But for missing out on those 4mm, you're saving $1,000. So this lens is half the price of the 24 to 70 that I love, the 2.8. This is half the price, and it is, I guess, 60% of the weight. I forget the exact math on it, but it's roughly 60% of the weight. I typically, if I am photographing a wedding, I will be using, typically I would say, an 85mm lens on one camera and a 35mm lens on the other. And this does fit that focal range roughly, and I would be happy to shoot a wedding day with this. There are definitely some benefits to shooting primes, basically to control your depth of field. One of the, I guess, additional benefits of this, so say for instance, you're maybe comparing this against the 24 to 120 f4, and if you are a portrait and wedding photographer, I would definitely recommend going to the 28 to 75 rather than the 24 to 120. Well, high ISO is great and you can get away with a lot now, and you can shoot f4 at a darker venue. The main bonus with this 28 to 75 is that you can shoot at 2.8, which means you can make the backgrounds disappear a little bit more. And if you're walking into a space like a getting ready location or something that you just don't really have control of, it is much easier to kind of make that background disappear. So you just kind of zoom in a little bit and make that background fade away, shoot at 2.8. Rather than shooting at f4 and struggling a little bit to kind of make all of the detail in the background disappear. I've also discovered that during first dances, there's always somebody looking at their phone or whatever it might be. And if you're just able to make them disappear into nice out of focus elements in the background, it is less distracting overall for an image. So depth of field, definitely a tool that you can use in weddings and portraits. I feel like aesthetically, shallow depth of field just makes your subject pop out of those frames a lot better as well. And that is one of the reasons that I really do enjoy shooting lenses wide open, and when I'm able to shoot them at 2.8 rather than f4 therefore I'm a little bit happier. As I put on the text on the screen at the beginning of this video, all of these images that you're seeing, all of the photos and videos are straight out of camera. I have locked my white balance usually to shade. I think I shot a few on auto white balance, but most of them have either been on shade, which is the house with the lines, or cloudy mode. I find that those two color profiles I very much enjoy in Nikon images. And if I can just get the final image that I want straight out of camera in both the JPEG and also in the video file, I am very happy. I typically don't shoot a whole lot of log footage. I'm not doing a bunch of grading and post-production. I'm doing it as close as I possibly can and getting it right in camera. And I would say that Nikon files and Nikon colors are, I would probably say, the best in the industry, or at least the ones that I prefer the most. I'm hesitant to say that they're the best colors ever, but definitely for, I guess, my color preferences, I would say that they are the best for me. So talk about this lens. You get your little control ring that I never use for anything, because all I do is just bump it accidentally. So I turn this off immediately. You get a lens hood, which is nice. Some of the new Canon lenses, the smaller f1.8s don't come with lens hoods, which I find to be a little kind of annoying. And you get this big grip here for zooming. It feels very ergonomically, I would say, perfect. It is a bit of a bigger lens, so I guess you're getting a little wide angle distortion. I'm shooting this on a 16. The lens as wide as my head. We're getting really technical in our comparisons here. And the lens also does extend a little bit. Really not a whole lot though, in comparison to how much it's zooming. A few, like say for instance, the 24 to 200, you get a lot of extension out of that. And I would say the 28 to 75, really not that big of a deal. Also close focusing distance. I have a few examples here on the screen, but basically if you're about this far away, I think it's 7.5 inches. You can zoom all the way in and be 7.5 inches away. And it really does act as a macro lens a little bit, which is amazing for wedding days, that you don't have to bring an additional lens. You can get those ring shots. You can do a pretty good job of it. It's not a true macro lens, but you can get pretty close to that true macro lens at 75 on this lens. To give a bit of I guess a summary of this. So as you've seen throughout the video, the lens does perform incredibly well. There really are no negatives that stick out to me as far as technical goes, that the ghosting and the flare is very well controlled. I'm not seeing any chromatic aberration. There's really, technically this lens is great. And I would say that is the same with every Nikon Z series lens, that I have been super happy with every single product that I've put on my camera for this mirrorless system, as well as the camera bodies as well. Where I think the decision will be for a lot of you is one, price point. Obviously the 24 to 70 2.8 is also amazing, but it is heavier and it's also a heck of a lot more expensive. With this lens, you're essentially sacrificing those 4mm to save a lot of money. Even on a high megapixel sensor like this Nikon Z7 II, you can judge the samples for yourself. But overall, I really am happy with the quality of it. So overall, I really think it just comes down to price point, as well as how much you'll need those additional 4mm on the wide end. As I mentioned, 75, 70, kind of roughly the same, I would say, in actual use. 28, 24, actually different. I would consider them to be quite different. Is it worth it, an additional $1,000 in spend and cost on your lens to unlock that 4mm? That is completely up to you and how much you use them. As a wedding photographer, as a portrait shooter, I would be very happy with this 28 to 75. And it's something that I would definitely be using a lot of the time. So thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and Bookmore Weddings 2022 coming out on February 16th. Mark your calendar, go get those raw files. That's all I have to tell you about now. I've lost my phone. Let's continue our Hawaii adventure. Today it's Hoga Day in Hawaii, because they both start with H. So I brought a Hoga 135 and a Hoga 120. So you get to look forward to that. If you're into Hoga plastic toy cameras from Hong Kong, yeah, that's coming out eventually, because film is kind of annoying to process and you got to mail it. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you again next time.